Hey guys, and welcome to game number 12 of the Mack vs. Machine series, where I'll be playing 100 games of Scrabble against the top Scrabble bot, HastyBot. HastyBot has now won 3 games in a row, so we're going to see if we can get some momentum back this game. We'll be first, and we've got a decent opening rack here. The X is usually nice to see, and I think we'll probably just play Fox to score 26 with it and keep a strong bingo leave. I don't see anything else that looks better here. Okay, he dumps a bunch of N's playing Ninny and Foxy. We've got an okay rack now. It's a little bit heavy on A's and T's. I don't think we're going to be bingoing. I'd love to get rid of probably AOT or AIOT. I don't see a great place for Iota. I guess we could go here. That's not terrible. It's 16, which is probably about as good as we're going to score. There is Titan to this N. That's a lot more points. That's 25. AOS is definitely worse than AST, but 9 points is a lot, so this may be worth it. I don't see anything else through this N that looks great. Yeah, I think it's kind of between Iota and Titan. I feel like I'm probably going to go with Titan here. It also does give back another S line for ifs for me to bingo, whereas Iota doesn't really give me any great spots. So I think for the 9 more points, it's probably worth it here to take this slightly weaker leave. Okay, and this will work out since we've drawn Aranis as a 7, and we are going to probably end up using this spot I just opened. I don't think there's anywhere else I can bingo. It won't fit with Bovids. Doesn't play next to Bovid either, so I think this is gotta be best. Okay, so he plays Bod, which does take a Y. I don't think we have anything from this Y, though, going down to the double word, which would score quite a lot, but I don't think it's available. Not a huge fan of this J here. Kind of mucks up our rack a little bit and makes it difficult for us to bingo. I don't really like Joey though, and keeping the Y, normally I don't like Ys, but because of this body spot, if I can draw a 4, I'll be scoring like 40 points, so I kind of do like keeping the Y if I can. I don't want to like sacrifice too many points though, because it's also fairly likely that he'll play through one of these tiles and inadvertently block the spot. So it's not the type of opening that's worth trying to like fish for or save tiles for to hit. It's also only 40 points. It's not like I'd be scoring 70 or bingoing or anything there, most likely. So it would be cool to save the Y, but it's also not something I'm going to go out of my way to do. Like, I don't think I would play Job or something like that over Joey, just because it starts getting too constant heavy. I don't really see any great plays that don't get rid of the J either. Not really seeing anything. I don't think there's anything to this O, is there? I guess there's Folio, actually. CJY, though, is pretty rough. Yeah, I don't want to keep CJY. The computer might rank that as best, but keeping CJY could really put us in a tough spot. I think I'm going to probably just go with Joey. I don't really think that Y spot is strong enough to be going for. And this does also keep things nice and tight. And we have a bit of a lead. So I think it's not a great looking play, but I think it's probably fine here. Okay, so he does use Joey's and Sook now. And let's see, we've got decent rack. We almost have Eco Gift. Probably just FICO here. Scores reasonably well. EGL is not the best leave ever, but certainly not the worst. Definitely better than Folio. CEG is kind of clunky. I don't see anything else to this O or in other spots. We don't have anything that goes after U, so we can't overlap here. So I think FICO is probably fine. Okay, he plays Z, so he's using his power tiles well and starting to catch up, which isn't great. But it's not going to be that easy for us to score once again here, since we only have 1-pointers. And the board is pretty quickly becoming difficult to use. I don't even know what we should do here, because we can't hit this O as far as I can tell. Yeah, I really don't have a lot of options. I don't see anything good from this N. I definitely don't want to play something like Urge. That's way too reckless. I probably might just have to play Golfer or something like that. I mean, EER is a decent leave. It doesn't give anything back at least, and I know it's only 12, but I don't really think I can score much more than 12 on this board. So I feel like just sort of stalling and hoping he'll open something up, or hoping to maybe draw some better tiles next turn is, I think, the best thing I can do here. It feels like a weird play to make, but I just don't see anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so he does play Perjure through that G, taking a very small lead. We do have the blank now, which is definitely encouraging. Don't think we're going to have anything from this P. We're just a little bit too E heavy. So probably something like Elk. See, that's 22. We also have Zek. Zek is 23. So pretty similar in score. I think Elk is a little better positionally, though, because this can let him overlap with an O, which we don't have, and also make plays with Zeks. Although, I mean, plays with Zeks wouldn't score a ton, but on this board where there's so few scoring opportunities, it would probably be more than where he could score elsewhere. On the other hand, I'm not sure I mind if he plays with Zeks, because then he's also getting rid of his S, which is valuable for Bovids. So it's probably not really something I should be worried about. Yeah, this is kind of a close call. I mean, Elk is, I think, very slightly better positionally. So for one more point, it's probably worth it, just to not give back this spot, and also the O-hook, which I don't have. I don't see a good place to play off 2 E's and a K with, like, Eek or something like that. I guess I could play Keel, but I kind of like keeping this P open since it works really well with my leave, and I think I'm probably more likely to hit it given I have the blank. So I'm going to go ahead and play Elk. Okay, he plays Till, and I should have something from this P. I have Perennial or Perigean. Not really sure there's a huge difference between the two. Let's see. Yeah, they both put an E next to this spot, which isn't ideal. It's worth spending a couple seconds to see if there's something that puts a consonant here just to give back a little bit less to him if he parallels, but I don't see anything off the top of my head other than Perigean and Perennial. Napery, Aperient, neither of them fit. I think probably Perennial is slightly better because the L is a little bit harder to overlap, right? So we can put an A, an I, or an O here, whereas an N takes A, E, O, U. So there's a few fewer tiles that go after the L. So I think it's slightly more defensive. I'm going to go ahead and play that. Okay, he has a nice overlap here of Etesian. So we've got a very tight game once again. Let's see. So we can score a bit with which we might just want to do. There isn't that much to be done on this board in general with scoring. The S is going to be very key, I think, with Bovids. That'll be a good opportunity to score, or maybe even bingo to put the game away. So that would maybe suggest I should be playing off a few more tiles to try to draw that S. I just don't really see a great place to do that. I don't really think there's anything else I can play here that scores anything considerable. I don't want to play this because then I keep CGM, which is way too consonant heavy. So probably just HM. I don't love this leave, but I do need to score. And this is definitely going to be my best way to do that. So probably this is fine. Let's see. Okay, he plays Prow, which is pretty aggressive. I didn't have the best draw. I certainly have to address this spot he just opened here with, I guess Nog is unfortunately my only tile that goes there. Lipe is also good, so if and Larai with an I. But I don't think I'd have to do something like this, which isn't going to work. So that's unfortunate. But I do have to block this. It's with a D, G, H, M, there's way too many heavy-hitting tiles there that he could have. So even though I might just have to do something like G, which is really not a good play to make here, keeping the two eyes, I have to block this. It's still better than gel, I would think. Yeah, there's 10 vowels and 9 consonants, so with it being slightly vowel heavy, I definitely don't want to keep 3 vowels and 1 consonant. Can't really play liege there. Yeah, I think I kind of have to do this. I really don't want to, but it seems forced. Okay, so he plays Aura. It's a little bit fishy, but it does score 21. Hard to know if he has the S here. Like, he could easily make that play with a rack of, say, A, D, E, N, T. So I don't necessarily need to assume he has the S. It's not, given it still scores 21 on this board, it's not necessarily a pure fish to try to bingo. I really don't have much here. There is this prowl hook, and also, I guess there's the lips spot and the lipa spot to watch out for. I don't want to play like MI, though, because there's still 2 E's, and he's probably much more likely to have an E than I will next turn. Also, the U for emu. Yeah, I definitely can't do that, I don't think. Unfortunately, I don't have a 6 ending in A. What do I have with prowl if I go here? Do I just have... Is there anything other than mile? I guess male, M-A-I-L-E. But that makes his overlap score a lot more since he'll be doubling the M. So probably just mile. I'd love to get rid of this G. I mean, it's 20 points, so it's probably still worth it. It's going to be hard for me to score that well otherwise. Fortunately, I don't see any longer words there. It's not looking great. I'll probably need to draw that S. But I don't see any better options. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so he plays Vendu. I did draw the S. Probably going to be tough to win, though, just given my my tiles don't work too well together. How about I have, like, ASCII here. Ties the game. I save Magi to go out, which he can probably just block. How about Magi first? Because I don't... Do I have any other outs with this? I don't think I do. Or magic, even? Maggie? Yeah, how about magic? Oh, no, I can't do that. It gives him attached to go out. Dang it. And Magi gives him hat, too. That's frustrating. That's not going to be enough, right? So 14, hat is 27. So yeah, he'll be up 13 plus this. No, it's going to lose by 9. Darn it. Do I have anything else? And I think after this, he just blocks. Right? He just plays like hat or something and blocks my out. I feel like I should have something here. I also have smile. Titania would be cool. It doesn't really work. How about trying to go out with Akai next turn? I don't think... How about Akai first? Yeah, how about this? Because now... Yeah, I think this might do it. Because now he can't... He has nothing that goes below MI. I don't know. I don't have time to quite do the math. But this is the closest I can come up with. And now... 20... 20... Oh gosh, am I going to lose by 1? Oh, come on. Yeah, I'm going to lose by 1. Jeez. That's really frustrating. So what if I had played Akai's and Bovids? Would that have won? I don't think so. Because then he... Wait, if I had played Akai's and Bovids, then I think I would have won, right? Because then he can't play Hat, and I net a few more. Because let's see, I got 36. Yeah, and I could save, and attach still doesn't fit. Ah, I just needed a few more seconds. That's so aggravating. Yeah, I think that would have won. I saw it like right after I ran out of time. Oh no. Yeah, I'm gonna put this into Quackle, but I think Akai's and Bovids wins, right? Because yeah, right. So I can't play Magics because of attach. So 28. Yeah, I'm up 4. And what's he gonna do? I mean, I guess how about that? Does that do it? 14, 20. Wait, that would tie? Because, so that would be 20. 86, he'd be up 16. And I go out with Magi for 14. Yeah, that would be a tie. So I think this actually ties. I think, but I need to Quackle this, because I'm definitely not sure. That was a crazy ending. I'm just going to restart Quackle and then open it. We'll go through the rest of the game too. I just want to look at this end game because it was really tense and interesting. So yeah, I think Akai's and Bovids is gonna tie, and GI wins. Oh wow. Yeah, because this sets up Akai's and GI and MIS. That's sick. Oh, wow. Okay, so Akai's does tie here. I was correct. Because that's plus 24 and I'm down 24. And my play did lose by 1. So I needed to play this. Oh, man. I think I would have seen that if I had a little bit more time. Because I was looking at this combination like right after I had to move because of my time. But yeah, that's tricky to see that you have to play it this way first. Because the idea, right, is it blocks his play of that under Mile, which is the best play currently with his rack. And that's sort of why I went here and played Akai first versus going here. But the problem is, for him now, after this, MIT, MIA, none of that is good. So he can't really do anything to block this spot. And I, of course, have it under Bovids, too. So after this, he's got to just play A like he did in the game. And then I go out here and win by 2. Oh, man. So that is a missed win there for me in the endgame, unfortunately. Which is not something I can afford to do very often in this series. But it was a tricky one. I had like 2 minutes. I should have been able to solve that within 2 minutes, but unfortunately I was getting there. I just couldn't quite come up with it on time. So okay, I know I could have won there, but let's look at the rest of the game. So opening rack, Fox looks fine. You could make an argument for fix to set up the T for fixed, but I don't think that's worth it. It's very likely he's just gonna overlap anyway, and the hook is gonna be irrelevant once he overlaps and takes out that spot. So I think Fox, just to keep a stronger leave, is totally fine. He dumps all his ends here. This looks solid. Yeah, I think Titan has got to be worth it. 9 is a lot of points to give up, and I do like setting up that S hook, as I mentioned in the game, which I did end up using on the next turn. So I think this was perfectly fine. Bovid is clearly correct for him. Aaron is only bingo. And yeah, Bod looks solid on his part. Yeah, so I'm not surprised at all to see Folio ranking above Joey, as I mentioned in the game, but I just don't think CJY is a good thing to keep on your rack. It's very likely that it'll turn into something very consonant heavy, and you'll end up having to plod through that for several turns in a row. So I think Joey is totally reasonable. He plays Souk, which looks pretty good. DELZ is quite solid. I don't like Zeds at all. LQU, you do have the U, but if you don't draw enough vowels, it's going to be hard to work with, and there just aren't a lot of openings on this board where you'd be able to play a longer word with a Q. So I like getting rid of it here for him. I think that's the right call. FICO looks fine. Yeah, Folio, CEG is pretty clunky. The C and the G really don't go well together, so this looks solid. Z looks pretty good. Yeah, Golfer, again, not a play I wanted to make, but I mean, what else is there to do? Nerol is not good because that takes an I, and there's still 6 eyes unseen. So can't really risk that, I don't think. I'm not down either, right? It's basically an even game, so I don't need to be playing aggressively here. I think Golfer is totally reasonable. Purger looks good. No reason to save the R with Purge when he's already got other consonants. Yeah, Zek is one more point. I saw this in the game, but I ultimately decided, just because this gives back the potential for overlaps with OK, and also, I mean, some number of plays with Zeks that might help bail him out a little bit. I figured better to sacrifice the 1 point. I think that's fine. Of course, you could say that the 1 point ended up looming large later in the game, but I do think if I don't bingo from the P immediately, this OK line especially, more so than this X opening, that's not really that big a deal. But having this OK line could definitely be a thorn in my side if I don't end up bingoing from this P immediately. So I think Elk is reasonable here for the 1 less point. He plays Till, looks pretty reasonable. Scores as well as he's going to, pretty much, and keeps a good leave. Yep, so Perigean and Perineal are the only options here. I ultimately elected to do Perineal just because the L doesn't overlap quite as easily as the N, which I think is reasonable. Tejan looks good. Yeah, I didn't love I think I saw Gi here, but I quickly discarded it. I didn't even really think about it just because it gives back this line here on the right, which is pretty scary. I guess I could think about doing it anyway, but TI just takes so many letters, right? It takes a E, an N, a P, an S, a T. There's just so many ways he can hit it. And I guess I do have a C to use there next turn. If I were down a lot more, it's definitely a play I would go for, but I mean, I'm not necessarily in a bad position after, I'm still going up 23. I've got an okay rack, and there isn't that much for him to do. So I think I'm okay just sort of laying low and playing here. I think Gi wouldn't be crazy, but I just don't think it's necessary. Prow looks I don't know. I would not have made this play, or Prawn for that matter. I would have definitely played something like Pow. I mean, if you look at this pool, there's a D, 2 G's, an H, an M, T's. There's so many tiles that go here. It's really scary. And similarly to what I was saying, he's not in the position where he needs to be risking that. He can just play Pow, I think, and sort of keep it even and hope to draw the S and better racks in the end and pull this one out. Yeah, he's saying Gel. I guess I could consider Seal here too. I don't like Gel at all. It's a slightly vowel-heavy pool, and I'd rather keep 2 vowels, 2 consonants than 3 vowels and 1 consonant. Seal is interesting. It does take an I, which I do have. It still leaves this spot open for him though for easy 30-point plays, and also the lipe lane for possible bingos. So I'm not sure that this is a great idea. It does keep a little bit of a better leave though, especially with the E. There's only 2 E's left, so it's kind of nice to keep the E in reserve also for the lipe spot. So you could make the argument for Seal here. I guess unless he has the S, it's hard for him to really hurt me in that spot. I mean, something like HE, that would be 35, which is a lot for this board, but it's still by no means a game ender. I can certainly come back with plays in the lipe spot. So I think Seal would be reasonable too. I think G is The problem with G2, right, is it does give back this D and S line if he were to have those, which isn't great since I don't have either of them. So maybe that is an argument for Seal. Also, I mean, does turn over one more tile for the S, which is a good thing. Actually, maybe even Seali if I'm going to do this, right? Yeah, why wouldn't I don't know why that ranks lower on the list. That's weird. I would have thought EG would be better than EGI. Yeah, this actually looks great. Because now, unless he has something like Hoist, which is pretty unlikely, he's going to be harder pressed to use that spot. And I have now 5 tiles I'm turning over for the blank. And I still save GE, which gives me a decent shot at hitting Lipe next turn. Yeah, I think Seali is the best play here. If I thought of that, I almost certainly would have played it. I think I thought about the Prowl spot, but I didn't quite see this word there. This definitely looks a little bit better in that position. Yeah, Aura, I mean, it scores pretty well. So this is what I was figuring, that he might have a rack sort of like this rather than the S, just because this scores so well and does get rid of a couple vowels. So I think that looks reasonable. Agile, I don't think I considered Agile, which is interesting. It doesn't actually, it gives back a V hook, which is kind of sneaky. But the good thing is he's actually probably not likely to have the V, because I don't think you would play Aura and keep the V. You'd probably want to get rid of it and play something like Avo over here. So I'm actually probably more likely to get the V than him, and I mean, he could play something like Hid, but that's pretty unlikely. He'd have to have the H and the I. And again, I'm guessing he didn't have the H when he played this. I would infer from this something like 3 more vowels and 1 or 2 pointers. So this is, I think Agile is actually a pretty reasonable play to make here. I didn't think of it, unfortunately, but that looks pretty good. Amiki is also decent here. I don't think Mile was a great play. I probably tunneled a little bit too much on the Prowl spot. I think yeah, Agile actually looks pretty strong. MIC isn't great, but it's actually not terrible. I mean, the pool is pretty well balanced, 7 vowels, 7 consonants. So I've got pretty good potential to draw something good in that spot next turn. So I don't mind that leave. ACGI is also, I think I just underestimated how bad this was. I'm really not putting myself in a good position next turn by playing Mile. I think this was one of my worst plays of the game, actually. I mean the end game, but that was a little bit tricky under time pressure. This is really a bad play. I mean, ACGI is not a good leave. Agile just seems so much better in every possible way. This spot is, I don't have anything to worry about. I mean, unless he picked up the V, probably the worst thing is he's scoring like 20 or so. Yeah, I saw MI, but I wasn't a fan of that because of the EAM and EMU hooks. But yeah, I think Amiki is also reasonable. Just to, I mean, this really doesn't give anything back to him. But I feel like Agile is even stronger. I mean, CIM is probably the most balanced leave of any of these, and it gives myself a good combination of flexibility and also scoring potential next turn. So yeah, I think Agile is the play. That's another miss on my part. Vendu looks really good for him. I mean, it empties the bag, but it scores so many points, and he should be winning a decent number of endgames. And yeah, as we discussed, not Akai's here actually. So HastyBot doesn't find this win either. This is not a winning play, but GI here first, right, is the winning play, as we looked at in Quackle, because now he can't really block this spot, and I leave myself 2 very strong spots for Akai's. Unfortunately, I was getting a bit low here, and I had about 2 minutes, but I couldn't quite figure this out within my 2 minutes. So unfortunately, this ended up happening, and I ended up losing by 1, by a score of 399 to 398. So yeah, this was a really good game. Kind of a tight board. I certainly should have won. I mean, the end game obviously was a place where I clearly messed up, and I think G was a mistake and Mile was a mistake. So I really didn't play well at the end of that game. No like glaring misses or anything like that. It's not like, oh, I missed this bingo or missed this big play, but just a few strategical errors, I think, that just given what I kept and what the current state of the board was just really weren't good, especially Mile. I really should have realized how bad ACGI was and played something like Agile there. That was not a good play. So kind of a well-deserved loss on my part. I certainly I could have won this until the very end, but I didn't capitalize. But hey, that's part of the deal. It happens, and it's now 7-5 in my favor. Got to just sort of put this one behind us and bounce back and see if we can get a win in Game 13, which will be coming up soon. So yeah, thanks again, guys, for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this game or any of the positions in the comment section as usual, and I will see you all very soon for the next round. Have a good one.